a psychotherapist with an interesting and quirky assortment of patients, an Emmy Award winning Hollywood producer who thinks everyone in his life is an idiot, a newlywed diagnosed with a terminal illness, a 69-year-old who has vowed to kill herself if nothing changes in her life by her 70th birthday, a 20 something who keeps dating the wrong kind of men. Then one day, the psychotherapist finds that she herself needs help to deal with a crisis in her own life. And she ends up on the couch of another therapist, this time on the receiving end of therapy. Maybe You Should Talk to Someone, written by psychotherapist Lori Gottlieb, is a hilarious, thought provoking memoir that is written from both points of view, Lori Gottlieb, the therapist, and Lori Gottlieb, the patient. To find out more, let's switch on the reading lamp. Hello, I'm Asavari, and on this channel, I review books and talk about reading in general. Shall we have a look at the details of today's book?
Facts and Figures.
Maybe You Should Talk to Someone is a non-fiction book, a memoir written by psychotherapist Lori Gottlieb. It was published in April 2019 by Amaryllis. It's 432 pages long and available in paperback, hardcover, and Kindle editions. The audiobook is also available on Audible. You can find the link to buy this book on Amazon in the first pinned comment and in the description below. Now let's talk about the details, actual contents of the book. But as you know, no spoilers, no worry. Just
The cover story.
the book begins with a chart note about John, the Emmy Award winning Hollywood producer. He is pushy, opinionated, and brash, and convinced that everyone around him is an idiot, stopping just short of calling Lori Gottlieb herself an idiot. John's appointment comes after that of a young newlywed who has been diagnosed with cancer. She is facing the prospect of a long drawn out battle with the illness as well as the possibility of a much shortened lifespan. As a therapist, Gottlieb has to give both of them her full attention. At the same time, she herself is reeling from a shock. Her long time relationship, which she believed was leading up to marriage, has fallen apart. Her boyfriend, whom she refers to as boyfriend with a capital B, has just dumped her. Are you wondering if she's perhaps not such a good therapist because she didn't see it coming? That is the beauty of the book. Lori Gottlieb writes about herself, her patients, her therapist, and psychotherapy in general with a frankness that is endearing. It shows us the very human nature of both the patient and the therapist. Here's why I think it's a book that you will enjoy reading.
Speaking My Mind.
You might wonder why a book about psychotherapy should be interesting to anyone other than a therapist or a patient. I'll give you 3 reasons to read the book. Reason number 1, the brilliant style of writing. Lori Gottlieb's writing is hilarious and compassionate at the same time. I found myself laughing out loud throughout the book. As a trained therapist, her powers of observation are obviously strong. She combines that skill with a wicked sense of humor that makes for an entertaining read. Would you have ever imagined that reading a book about psychotherapy would make you laugh? That doesn't mean that she trivializes her patients' problems. In no way is she unkind or sarcastic. Yet the way she presents them turns them into an interesting, witty story that you want to keep on reading. She involves you in her patients' lives. You find yourself shaking your head and rooting for them to work through their problems at the same time. She's equally candid about herself as a patient. Her honesty is refreshing. I was impressed by how objectively she has written about her own problems and her equation with her therapist. Reason number two, the self help aspect. This is not a self help book as such. There are no guidelines or plans of action to follow. But through the stories that she narrates and her observations about life and therapy, Laurie Gottlieb gives us a lot of food for thought. For example, in one place she says, and I'm paraphrasing, that I think about how it's the not knowing that torments all of us. At a certain point, we all have to come to terms with the unknown and the unknowable. Sometimes we'll never know why. This observation struck a chord with me in particular. So many times, when something doesn't go the way we wish, we keep agonizing over the why of it. We keep trying to find a reason for why something happened or didn't happen. And what the book did for me is that it told me that sometimes we may never find out the why, and that is okay. We should file it under no reason why and let it go. It was a very liberating feeling for me. The book is full of such gems. The things that appeal to me may not necessarily appeal to you in the same way, but I'm convinced that depending on who and where you are at this point in your life, you are likely to find things that are appealing and useful to you. Reason number three, the takeaways from the book. The book is an entertainer that normalizes psychotherapy. Especially in India, psychotherapy is not something that is talked about openly. Of course, this book has an American context, but still, it is really helpful to read about the psychotherapeutic process written in a light-hearted, everyday manner. It takes away the taboo associated with psychotherapy. 2 episodes ago, we were talking about physical health. Find the link to that episode up there. This book is about mental health. There is a lot of information in the book, like the trans theoretical model of behavior change or stages of grief, and the contributions of Freud, Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, and so on. These are mentioned in passing and not in any great detail, but they make the book interesting and informative. In one place, she writes about a session with her terminally ill patient, and she uses it to discuss what not to say to a dying person. What she writes here is very poignant and insightful. It gives you a new perspective on how to be more supportive of a near and dear one who is dealing with any kind of a difficult situation. I like books that make me think while also being entertaining. This book fits the bill perfectly. One negative aspect about the book is that the timelines are not very clear. The storytelling is not linear. Gottlieb jumps back and forth within the stories, which can be a bit confusing. But it's a minor irritant, not a major issue. There are many interesting quotes that I have highlighted in this book, one of which I've already paraphrased earlier. But I'm going to read out a section that shows you the irreverent and frank way in which Gottlieb writes. It should tell you why the book is so much fun to read in spite of dealing with the serious topic of psychotherapy.
Quote unquote.
During her internship, Gottlieb's supervisor had told her that there is something likable in everyone. So when she meets John, the brash, know-it-all Hollywood producer, she says that I felt confident that I could grow to like John. Underneath his off putting presentation, something likable, even beautiful, was sure to emerge. But that was last week. Today, he just seems like an asshole. An asshole with spectacular teeth. Now it's time for the LINEDSCAPE rating of today's book.
LINEDSCAPE Rating.
LINEDSCAPE is the 10-factor book rating system that I have devised. You can find a link up there and in the description to a video that explains how it works. You can check that out. 5 parameters: impact, descriptions, sense, characters, and aesthetics are 8 on 10. 5 parameters: language, Novelty, engagement, plot, and enjoyment are 9 on 10. That gives us a total score of 85 on 100, which translates into 4.5 stars. I also have the audiobook as usual, and the narrator, Brittany Presley, has done a pretty good job with the audiobook. Now it's time to put my thoughts.
In a nutshell,
Maybe you should talk to someone. Written by Laurie Gottlieb, explores psychotherapy from the points of view of a therapist and a patient. It's unusual and unique because the author is both the therapist and the patient. It's intelligent, and even though it's humorous, the humor is kind and compassionate. I recommend reading this 4.5 star book. Before I go, remember I upload a fresh episode every week. If you liked this episode, please give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon so you never miss an episode. And please share with your friends and family. The more, the merrier. This is Asavri signing off for now, and until the next time, have fun under the reading lamp. Switch on, read on.